And then just 2 slow roll downs. So chin into chest, slide the hands down, bend the knees. Come down, brush fingertips on the mat, then slowly exhale. We'll do one more. We'll take it to downward dog. So chin into chest, soften the knees, walk the hands forwards, spread the fingers, spiral biceps towards each other. Send the hips up to the sky. You can bend the knees in here. Send the chest towards the thighs. If you want a little bit more, take it to a one-legged dog. So bend in one knee, then extend, turn that foot to the side of you, so it really opens out the hip, and then you can really straighten out that leg, squeezing all the glutes, and then you can just have a go on the other side. Bending in the knee, lift, then straightening the leg, squeezing on the glutes. We'll do 2 more of those, otherwise you're just there hanging out with dog, or maybe a puppy dog. If you're going for your leg lifts, you go up, but then square out the shoulders. So notice if the shoulder's really twisted with you. So try and get the twist in the body. The hip opens, but the shoulders stay squared to the front of the mat. Release, we'll go 1 more on the other side. Bending in the knee, extend. Then work with the shoulders. The twist is in the body. 1 more breath. Bring that down onto all fours. I'm just going to adjust my screen because my mat's slightly out of the picture. So onto all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Now just take a moment, neutral spine. So if you need to tilt in pelvis, find pelvic floor, pull in that TVA. Now take 4 deep breaths, really fill out the torso with air. Widen the rib cage. Really feel like you're getting the shoulders, getting some breath into the shoulders, the collarbones. Just taking this moment to breathe. So we're going to work with corners. So it's a bit like breathing into 4 corners. So extend left leg, extend right arm. Breathing out left. Then go into your corners. Then recenter and then switch over. Right leg extend, left arm extend, squeezing in that glute. Then have a go with corners. Recenter. So we can bring in that breath. So breathing into the 4 corners. Breathing out left and then breathe in and then work into your corners and then breathe out, recenter. Breathing out, extend. Breathing into those corners, widening the rib cage. Breathing out, recenter. So just adding, we're just slowing down really, we're adding in another breath just at that top point, working with the corners. So I can't do it because my ground is so bumpy, but you could, if you want to progress, is lift at that back foot. So you work with that balance. Keep working with those 2 breaths. Think about really filling the lungs with air in all and as much as you can. Just 2 more. Squeezing those glutes for that extension. Last one. Release, just step through for a low lunge. So step through with the left leg. Just keep the right hand down. We'll just put in a really nice chest stretch. So lift the left arm up to the sky. Pull in the core, so pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA, just to work with the twist. Maybe take the eye gaze up. Release and we'll switch sides. So again, just step forward with the other foot. Keep the left hand down. Reach that arm up to the sky. If you can, looking up. Really think about working across the chest, going all the way along across to the shoulders. Engage the core, so find pelvic floor. Work with the TVA. One more deep breath. So we're released from that. We come all the way down on our fronts. This is when I can really feel the ground really bumpy. It's quite fun, really. So head just resting on your hands. It's the glute activation. So squeezing in the glute, point the toes, and then lifting up that leg. And you should feel some reaction there in the lower back and lower. Squeeze the glute, hamstring engages, lower back stabilizes, and then release. The lower back should stabilize on the other side to the leg working. So this is quite useful for front crawl, right? Because this is a bit like your swimming front crawl kick. So think about when you're doing a front crawl kick, you can think about your glutes squeezing, glutes working, activating. Breathing out left, breathing in lower. So last week we did the combination. We did left, we did right, and then we did the mini cobra. So I'm going to do very similar. So breathing in left up into your mini cobras. Breathing out lower. Then reach extension like a swan dive. Then bring yourself down. Then into your leg lift. Your leg lift. Mini cobras. And you don't have to fully extend through the arms there. You could be squeezing the shoulders down and back and the elbows be bent. Then lift, reach forward to an extension, swan dive, then return it back down. At your own pace. Keep working with squeezing in the glutes. Even on a mini cobra, you can feel the glutes working with that one. Try not to hold the breath at any point. If you find you always go for the same leg first on the glute activations, you could try switching to the other side first. Really think about nice straight leg pointing in the toes. Breathing out into those extensions on swan dive. I think I just forgot my cobra. Squeeze. Should feel a bit of an abdominal stretch as well there on your cobra. One more time through, wherever you're at. And then just a moment before we cat stretch out of that is just to take a quad stretch. So just see if you can hold on to the ankle. I know last week, I think I did this standing. So let's try it lying down, because when you lie down, you really have to keep the knee in neutral with this. Because when I said when we were standing, the knee sometimes comes forward. So when we're lying down, the knee's got nowhere to go because it's got the ground. So just gently, so a little bit of a squeeze. Feel the quad getting some length. And again, we can just come back to the breath. So just taking nice deep breaths, trying to hold the breath. And then over to the other side for 4 breaths. Quad stretch. I tend to find that I look the way that I'm with the shoulder open, but it's up to you. Like, you can just be lying if you're watching screens or however it suits. 3 more deep breaths. Then just bring your head back on your hands, and we'll just test out the quads by a little kick, so a little front kick. And the focus here will go to the hips. So engage pelvic floor, engage TVA, and try not to let the hips tilt side to side, because that's what they'll do. And you might feel like the lower back kind of wants to wobble with this one as well. So see if you can keep the lower back still, the hips still, using the core. as you flick your heels up to your bum. Just 3 more. Focusing on that stillness. So we're going to release all the prone work with a cat stretch. So on all fours, chin into chest, tuck the pelvis under. Look back towards your knees. Tucking all that tummy in. And then just a moment for a wrist stretch, so just turn it so that the fingers are facing towards you. Come back to a neutral spine. Again, we can still work with the pelvic floor and the TVA. And just a couple of breaths here, stretching out the wrists. So slowly unpeel, a little bit of a shake here, shake there. Last one on our front spin is the front leg pull. So elbows underneath your shoulders, pelvic floor and TVA, and lifting up the hips to that hover. Now option here is just to straighten one leg. You've got your knee down and then lower, and then go to the other side, straighten one leg and then lower. It's almost like a little quad set. So it's almost like you're engaging the quadriceps at the front of the leg, pushing away at the back of the knee. But again, we're going to focus on stillness here in the hips. So if we can keep those hips still when we're doing this. And we'll progress from here. We'll just do 8 more like this. Keep working with TVA, keep working with pelvic floor. Hips super still. Into these leg straighteners. 3 more. Lower down, have a little rest, little 10 seconds rest. I'm surprised my cats haven't come out. They normally come out when I'm in the garden teaching. Mind you, if they come out, the dogs will all start barking. So I won't encourage it. So we go again, but this time there's a progression. Pelvic floor TVA, lift up the hips. Watch the shoulders aren't creeping up to the ears, and you've got the crown of the head in line with spine. We're not lifting the chin. So the progression, one leg straight, the other leg straight, then knee drop down, and then straighten. Knee drop, and then straighten. Just try not to let the lower back arch with this, so keep working with the core. Try not to hold the breath. 4 more. Really take your time, don't rush these. You've got to keep those hips still throughout. Quite a nice stretch here for the feet as well. Then lower it all the way down, another quick rest. Then the final progression, I'm going to do the front leg pull, so we're going to lift it onto full plank, but I'll give you a little way into that too. So ready, pelvic floor TVA, lifting up the hips. So from there, push up to your high plank. Draw in the core, try not to let the lower back arch, and then lower down. Push up and lower down. Just a couple of these 3. Now this is the layer if you don't want to take the full version, so you're going to stick with this. Pushing up, so really good shoulder stabilizing exercise. Try and keep the shoulders down away from the ears. Keep working with the core. If you're with me on a progression, straighten the back legs into that high front leg pull. We're going to straighten out one leg, leg left, tilt forwards, tilt back, and then switch sides. Extend, tilt, and then tilt, so strengthens these feet. Squeezing the glutes. Strengthening, working through wrists, shoulders, and with the core. Try not to hold the breath. 3 more. If you're working with the lifts from low plank to high plank, just go 2 more. Last one. bring it all down, release with a child's pose, so sit back onto your heels, a little bit of a wiggle side to side. Try and bring your forehead down to the mat. If you can, drop your elbows off to the sides of the mat, super relaxed in the shoulders. And just bring that breath back to, come back to the breath. Just in here, right down by the tailbone. Send it all the way up the spine, all the way up to the third eye. 4 deep breaths. So we're going to come from there to our sides, and we're going to go with our clams. So pick a side, bend the knees. Just one weight ready for a move in the middle in a minute. So bend the knees, heels in line with hips, in line with shoulders. Take a check on core, so pull in TVA, pull in pelvic floor. So lift the top knee and lower. Lift the heels up level with the hips. So I think I did a different one last week. I did touching heels and then I did touching knees. I don't know how you found that one. But with this one, it's sometimes easier to keep an eye on hips. So we can really kind of focus on being really still, targeting into the glute med. Drawing the core. And it's breathing out left, breathing in lower. I think the birds have nearly gone to bed here. Only a few of them left now. And all the owls come out. We have loads of tawny owls here. I hear them all because I'm in the yurt. You hear everything in the yurt. 2 more. We've got a baby tawny owl that just sits on the tree right by the yurt. Straighten the legs. Going to go for a double leg lift. So we'll lift top leg, lift bottom leg. Then lift rib cage if you can. So we're working with balance. Then if you want a little bit more, arm on the top of the leg, and then just lift that up and lower. Everything lowers. Then again, now you can bring in the weights here. So put the weight down by the side of the body. Left and then left rib cage. This is tricky. Then do a lateral shoulder, and then everything comes back down. 3 more, left, rib cage. Work with this balance. Release. 2 more, left, pelvic floor TVA pulling in. Extend. And down. Last one. Probably more wobbly on the lawn. That's my excuse. Release. Side kick. Flex the top foot. Kick it forward. Hamstring stretch. Point the toe. Bring it back. So if you can keep that leg up at hip height. You're going to feel this in the calf muscle because you're doing your flex and point. Should feel the hamstring stretch. Option here. Hands behind the head. Open out. Work with the chest. Just go steady on the chest. Like last week we did the really slow way in on the chest, so don't throw yourself over on this one. Couple to get into it. It's quite an intense twist on the body. 2 more. Last one. Then just find yourself a side plank. So whether that means being down here and then lifting like we did on the trees pose a couple of weeks back, or elbow under shoulder, lift up the hips, and we're just going to take a really massive star, or full version on your side plank is a little bit higher, hand under shoulder. 8-second hold. 8, 7, 6, find the core. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then release it all back down. Find yourself on the other side then with the clam. Bend the knees. Heels in line with hips, in line with shoulders. I feel like I'm going downhill now. Lift the heels up level with your hips. Lift top knee and lower. Hand there, just pushing down the hip. You can really think about pulling in the cord. You can always touch TVA and just see if it's working for you. Following down towards the hips. Also, you've got your neck stretch with your head resting on your hand. Just breathing out lift, breathing in lower. Try not to let the hip really open with this one. Three more. Last one. Straighten out the legs. We go to the double leg lift. Option there, you can put the weight in. Maybe one to start before you do that one. Lift top leg, lift bottom leg, lift rib cage, lift the arm up. Work with the balance and release. You can put that weight in. So it's lift and then bring the arm up and then lower. I don't know if you find you're more wobbly on this side. Second side chosen, and then lift, and then release. 3 more. Two left. I should call this allotment Pilates. Release, last one. Lifting up that rib cage, drawing the core. Extend, work with the chest stretch here, and release. Weights down, top leg, flex the foot, kick forwards, hamstring stretch, point the toe, bring it back. Should feel that in the calf muscles there too. The glute engages with that one as well. Try not to hold the breath at any point. Fingertips behind the head, you can do your twist in there, your chest stretch. And then touch the elbow forwards. Three more. Last one, exhale. Ready for that side plank. So whether you're down and you're just going to see if you can lift, you can almost work at lifting. This is quite hard. It's harder than it looks. Or whether your elbow underneath your shoulder and you're going to do your star. Or that top one. Hand under shoulder. Work through the chest. Lift up the top leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Release it all down.